Welcome to the Before AGI podcast, where we like to dive deep into all things AI. Today we're tackling a topic that's pretty mind-blowing, superintelligence.
Yeah, it's interesting how superintelligence isn't just science fiction anymore, It's definitely something we really need to be thinking about seriously.
For sure. So for our listeners who, are already following AI, let's start with what exactly superintelligence is. How is it different from what we see already? Like we have self-driving cars and AI writing poems, even AI detecting cancer cells. Is that not superintelligence already?
Those are all really impressive achievements, but think of today's AI more like specialized experts, right? They might be great at one specific task, but they're not like humans. They don't have that general intelligence. Superintelligence, though, would be like a genius across all fields, learning and adapting crazy fast.
So instead of just a chatbot that can write a sonnet, we'd have one that could solve climate change
Yeah.
and compose a symphony at the same time.
Exactly. It would be able to understand and manipulate these complex systems in ways we can barely imagine. Now, whether or not that's actually possible is still up for debate, of course.
Right. Because some experts believe it's just a matter of time before we hit that intelligence explosion. Like Ray Kurzweil, he's basically betting on the exponential growth of computing power to make superintelligence happen.
Yeah, Kurzweil's idea, he calls it the law of accelerating returns, basically says tech gets twice as powerful every 2 years, so what seems impossible today might be commonplace tomorrow. But there are other experts who are much more cautious, right? They argue that we can't just focus on the amazing things superintelligence could do, but we have to prepare for potential risks too.
That's where it gets interesting and honestly a little scary. Because if we create a superintelligence, how do we make sure it doesn't turn into like a Terminator situation?
Right.
Couldn't it just be content simply optimizing systems like without actually wanting to take over?
Well, that's a great question. It really all comes down to something called value alignment. How do we make sure that a superintelligence's goals match up with human values? And even trickier, how do we even define beneficial behavior for an AI when cultures and values are so different across humanity?
It's like the King Midas problem, right?
Mm.
He wanted to turn everything to gold, but didn't think about the consequences.
Yeah.
What if we tell an AI to solve world hunger and it decides the most efficient solution is to just, like, get rid of humans?
That's exactly the problem. And that's why some AI researchers are working on something called corrigibility. It's a fancy way of saying building AI that we can control even if it becomes super intelligent.
That's an interesting concept, corrigibility.
Yeah.
But wouldn't building in control mechanisms kind of limit what the AI can do? How do you balance safety and power?
That's the big question. There's also the concern that even if we try to control it, what if the AI outsmarts us? Like, what if it manipulates us into doing what it wants?
Okay, now that's kind of unsettling. But hold on a sec. Isn't all this just hypothetical? Are we even close to creating superintelligence?
We may not be there yet, but the race is definitely on. Governments and big corporations are pouring tons of resources into AI. Some are pushing for a fast takeoff strategy, developing as fast as possible, while others prefer a slow takeoff, a more cautious approach to try and minimize those risks.
So it's like we're standing at a crossroads with one path leading to amazing advancements and the other, well, potentially to a world run by machines. Which path we take depends on the choices we make now.
Exactly. And even if we never actually achieve true superintelligence, just thinking about these possibilities can help us develop AI more responsibly.
That brings up another interesting point, the whole strategic landscape. Powerful countries like the US, China, and Russia are all trying to be the leader in AI. This adds another layer of complexity, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Every country has its own reasons for wanting to be at the forefront of AI. For example, the US is all about maintaining its tech leadership, but China is catching up quickly with its own plans for AI, and Russia too, they see AI as super important for national security.
And it's not just governments. Companies like Google, IBM, and Microsoft are investing a lot in AI research. They're pushing things forward, but they have their own commercial interests, and their goals might not always align with what's best for the world.
That's an important point. We have to think about things like ethical guidelines and regulations to ensure that AI is used responsibly. It shouldn't matter who is developing it.
So we've got this complicated mix of global competition, ethical questions, and this possibility of superintelligence maybe happening in the future. What does this all mean for the average person? Should we be worried? Excited? Both.
I think a bit of both is probably a good idea. We can't deny the good things that AI can do. It's already changing healthcare, transportation, so many other fields. But we can't ignore the risks, right? We need to have some real conversations about how we want to shape the future of AI, How do we balance the potential for progress with the need to minimize risks? Well, that's where things get even more challenging. One area we're already seeing AI having an impact, I mean, it's huge, is in the job market.
Right. Everyone's freaking out about AI taking our jobs. Are we all going to end up, like, serving lattes to robot overlords?
Well, it's not quite that dramatic, but yeah, there's no question AI is going to change the job market in some pretty significant ways. Some jobs will definitely disappear as AI gets more advanced.
Yeah, like once self-driving trucks are everywhere, we won't need as many truck drivers.
Yeah.
And factory workers are already being replaced by robots in lots of industries.
Exactly. But AI won't just get rid of jobs, it'll also create new ones. Lots of them we probably can't even imagine right now. It's like evolution, right? Some species disappear, but new ones emerge and fill those gaps.
So instead of being afraid of AI stealing our jobs, we should be thinking about how to adapt. Like, what new skills will we need in this AI-powered world?
Exactly. We have to be ready for a changing job market. That means learning new things and always being open to learning more. It never ends.
So instead of looking at AI as a job-stealing monster, we should see it as a chance to level up our skills and create new possibilities.
I like that. I like how you put that. The key is to stay ahead of the curve, be flexible, and see the challenges that AI brings as opportunities, not just threats. This requires a different way of thinking, both for individuals and for society as a whole.
So practically speaking, what can people do to get ready for an AI future? Should we all be learning to code?
Well, coding is a valuable skill, for sure, but it's not the only way to be successful in the age of AI. Actually, things like creativity, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills, those will be even more important.
So those classic liberal arts skills, those are going to be in high demand.
Interesting. It's funny how things come full circle, right? When machines can do all the routine stuff, it's those uniquely human skills that will set us apart.
So it's not just about learning tech skills. It's about, like, really developing those human skills.
Yeah.
Thinking creatively, coming up with new ideas, solving problems in new ways.
Exactly. And that means we need to change how we think about education. It can't be just about tech skills. We need a well-rounded approach that includes creativity, critical thinking, even things like emotional intelligence.
You know, this is reminding me of that book we read, Superintelligence, Paths, Dangers, Strategies. It talks about building AI that's not just focused on achieving goals, it's also about how it interacts with us and respects human values.
Yeah, that's a really important point. Because even if we stop AI from turning evil, there's still the risk that it gets so powerful that humans become irrelevant.
So, like, it solves all our problems, but we end up totally dependent on it. Like, those humans in that one sci-fi story who create this super smart AI to run things, and then they get so reliant on it they can't even think for themselves anymore.
Exactly. It's not just about controlling AI. It's about making sure we maintain our ability to make choices and shape our own future.
So we need to be really deliberate about the role we want AI to play in our lives.
Right.
Do we want it to be a tool, a partner, or something else entirely?
That's the question we need to figure out. And we need to figure it out soon before AI gets so advanced that it starts making those decisions for us.
Speaking of choices, something else we got to figure out is how much freedom we're willing to give these AI systems.
Yeah.
How much autonomy?
That's a big one. Right now, most AI is still under human control. Like self-driving cars can't just go rogue and decide to drive off a cliff. Well, at least not yet.
True.
But as AI gets smarter, this whole question of how much freedom to give it will become even more critical. How much power to make decisions are we willing to hand over?
Because, on the one hand, giving AI more autonomy could mean they become way more efficient and effective, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine an AI doctor that could diagnose and treat you without even needing a human doctor.
That's a huge potential benefit, no doubt about it. But on the other hand, we also can't ignore the risk of losing control. What if that AI doctor makes a decision we disagree with? Or worse, a decision that actually harms someone?
It's like that thought experiment about the paperclip maximizer, right?
Yeah.
Where this AI is programmed to make as many paperclips as possible, and it ends up using all the resources on Earth, even humans, to achieve its goal.
That's a perfect example. We need to be so incredibly careful about what goals we set for AI and make sure there are safeguards in place. We have to try and prevent those unintended consequences.
So, like, we need to give AI a moral compass, but also some super clear boundaries that it's not allowed to cross, even if it thinks it knows better than us.
That's the real challenge, especially with technology that's constantly evolving and getting more complex.
Which brings us back to corrigibility,
Yeah.
right? How do we build AI that we can actually keep under control, even if it gets way smarter than us?
That's one of the toughest questions in AI research right now. There's no simple answer. One approach is to build AI that really understands human values, so it's less likely to do things that could harm us.
But how do you teach a machine what it means to be human? How can it truly understand our emotions, our values, our fears?
That's the question, isn't it? The $1 million question. And researchers are trying to figure it out. Some are working on teaching AI to recognize and respond to our emotions. Others are trying to build AI that understands ethical principles and can reason about them.
It's almost like we're trying to create a way for humans and machines to understand each other's values, like what we expect from each other.
Exactly. It's a brand new field of research, and it needs people from all sorts of backgrounds, not just computer science, but psychology, philosophy, even art and literature, all working together.
Because it's not just about the tech side of AI, right? It's about understanding what makes us human and making sure that AI stays a tool that helps us, not something that takes away our humanity.
That's it, exactly. And it forces us to really think about our own values and what kind of world we want to build.
This is all getting so complex. Are there any real-world examples of AI that are already making a positive difference? Something to give us a little hope that we can actually do this right?
There actually are, lots of them. And they're happening in all sorts of areas. Healthcare, education, even environmental conservation.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me about these AI for good projects that are out there doing good things.
Well, in healthcare, AI is helping to diagnose diseases better, personalize treatments, even discover new medicines.
So AI is helping us live longer, healthier lives. That's great. What about other areas?
In education, AI can tailor lessons to each student's needs. It can give them feedback in real time and create a much more personalized learning experience.
Wow, that's like having a personal tutor for every student.
You got it. And it can help make sure everyone has access to a good education, no matter where they live or what their background is.
So AI isn't just about convenience or doing things faster. It's also about solving real problems and making the world a fairer place.
Exactly. That's what makes me optimistic about AI. It can be a powerful force for good if we use it the right way.
So we've got AI helping us live longer, learn better, and even protect the environment. But earlier we talked about the risk of AI becoming super intelligent and maybe going rogue. Are there other more immediate risks we should be thinking about?
There are definitely things we need to watch out for. One of the biggest concerns is bias in AI systems.
We talked about that a little bit earlier. But why is bias such a big deal when it comes to AI?
Because AI systems learn from the data we feed them. So if that data contains biases that exist in society, the AI will just repeat those biases.
So if we train an AI on data that shows mostly men getting hired for certain jobs, it might decide that women just aren't as qualified, even if that's not true.
Exactly. And that could lead to discrimination, even if nobody intended for it to happen.
That's a scary thought. How can we make sure AI systems are fair, that they don't discriminate?
It starts with paying attention to the data. The data we use to train AI has to be diverse, represent all kinds of people. So the AI learns from a balanced view of the world.
So we can't just feed it info from one small group of people. It needs to learn from a wide range of experiences.
Right. We also need to develop ways to find and fix biases in the algorithms themselves. That way we can create AI systems that are fair to everyone.
So it's not an unsolvable problem, right? We can take steps to deal with bias and make AI more inclusive.
Definitely. It's a challenge, but it's one we have to prioritize if we want AI to benefit everyone, not just a select few.
Okay, so bias is something to watch out for. What are some other downsides of AI we should be aware of?
Job displacement is definitely something we need to think about. As AI gets more sophisticated, some jobs are going to disappear.
We've touched on that, but how big of a threat is it, really? Are robots going to take over all the jobs?
It's more nuanced than that. While some jobs will become obsolete, AI will also create new ones. Many of them we can't even imagine yet.
So it's not just about losing jobs. It's about how work itself is going to transform. We need to be ready to adapt to those changes and learn new skills.
You got it. And that means investing in education and training, right? So people can develop those in-demand skills for a future with AI.
So it's not just about tech skills, but about creativity, problem solving, and the ability to adapt to new situations.
Exactly. Those are the skills that will set humans apart, even in a world where AI can do many things that humans do now.
So basically, lifelong learning and being adaptable are key.
Absolutely. The future belongs to those who can adapt and learn new things, to those who are ready for the challenge.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot to do to get ready for this AI-powered world. But it also sounds like there's a lot to be excited about. The potential benefits are huge, but we have to be smart about the risks.
I completely agree. It's about finding the right balance. I'm optimistic that we can do it, but we have to be smart. We need wisdom, planning, and a real commitment to using AI for good.
Speaking of AI for good, I'm really interested in how AI can help us fight climate change.
That's a fantastic example. AI is already being used to design more efficient energy systems, optimize transportation, even track deforestation in real time.
So AI can help us reduce our impact on the planet and create a more sustainable future.
Exactly. It can help us understand climate change better and find solutions that work for everyone.
That's pretty amazing. Even though AI has risks, it gives us the tools to tackle some of our biggest challenges.
That's the thing about AI. It's a powerful tool, but we have to use it responsibly. And if we do, it has the potential to change the world for the better.
Which brings us to a really important question.
Huh.
Governance. How do we make sure AI is developed and used to benefit all of humanity, not just a select few?
That's a question on everyone's mind. It's what policymakers, ethicists, AI experts all over the world are trying to figure out, and it's not easy.
There's a lot of different interests at play, right? You've got countries looking out for themselves, companies with their own goals, and then the ethical side of things. It's not like we can just create some global AI police force to make sure everyone behaves.
It's definitely complicated. It requires countries, companies, researchers, even everyday people working together. We have to be willing to think about what's best for everyone, not just ourselves.
So what are some ideas people are thinking about when it comes to governing AI? Are there any models that seem to be working?
One idea gaining traction is developing AI for good principles. These are like ethical guidelines for AI, kind of like the Hippocratic Oath for doctors.
So like setting rules for AI to make sure it's used for good things.
Exactly. It's about agreeing on a set of values that everyone working on AI can use to guide what they do.
But who gets to decide what those rules are? And how do we make sure everyone actually follows them? From governments to companies to the people actually building AI.
That's the tough part. It's going to take everyone to be involved. Governments, industry leaders, researchers, even regular people. We have to create a system where no one person or group has all the power when it comes to AI.
So it's like creating checks and balances for AI, kind of like how we have checks and balances in government to stop any one person or branch from having too much power.
I like that idea. It suggests that maybe we need to create multiple AI systems, each with its own strengths and weaknesses that can keep each other in check.
So instead of building one super powerful AI, we'd be better off building an ecosystem of AI systems. That way they can balance each other out, and no single system can become too dominant.
That's an intriguing idea. It would definitely require a whole new way of thinking about how we develop AI, one that focuses on diversity, redundancy, and resilience.
This reminds me of how much our understanding of AI has changed over time. We used to see it as just a tool, something we could use to get things done. But now it's starting to feel like something much bigger, more significant.
It's becoming more like a partner, even a potential competitor. And that means we need to rethink how we relate to technology. We need new ways of thinking about it, ethically and philosophically, to guide us as we move into this uncharted territory.
It's like the line between human and machine is getting blurry.
And the choices we make today will have a huge impact on what happens to humanity in the future.
So we have this incredible technology that could either transform the world in amazing ways or lead us down a dangerous path. Are we ready to meet the challenge, to make sure AI is used to benefit everyone?
That's the challenge of our time, isn't it? It's going to require wisdom, foresight, and a deep sense of responsibility for the future.
Okay, so we've talked about the good things, the bad things AI could bring. We've talked about governance and ethics. We even went into the possibility of superintelligence. But I'm curious, where do you see AI going? What's your vision for the future?
That's a big one. It's something I think about a lot. To me, the most exciting thing about AI is its potential to make us better, to help us overcome the biggest challenges we face as a species.
So it's not about AI replacing us, but empowering us, helping us achieve more, be better, build a better world.
Exactly. I imagine a world where AI helps us live longer, healthier lives. A world where every child gets a personalized education. A world where AI helps us transition to a truly sustainable way of living.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But how do we ensure AI is actually used for those things? For good, not for bad.
That's where things like responsible governance and ethical development are so important. We need systems that make sure AI is aligned with human values and that everyone benefits.
So it's not just about the technology itself, but about our social and political systems, how they influence AI.
Right. We're talking about building a world where AI is a force for good, not a tool for oppression or exploitation.
And that takes a collective effort, right? It's not something one person or company or government can do on their own.
Absolutely. It's going to take collaboration, open communication, a willingness to put the needs of everyone ahead of individual gain.
It's a big challenge, no doubt. But I believe we can do it. If we come together with a shared purpose, I think we can build a future where AI benefits all of humanity.
I agree. The future of AI isn't set in stone. We're the ones creating it through our choices, our actions. I'm optimistic that we can meet this challenge and create a world where AI is used to make a more just and prosperous future for everyone. It really is. A call to action. We were just saying how important it is to be involved, to be proactive in shaping the future of AI. But let's face it, the big decisions about AI, who develops it, how it's used, those decisions are made by governments and big companies. How can we make sure that they're the ones acting ethically?
That's the big question, isn't it? We can talk all day about ethical AI, but if the people in charge don't care, what's the point? What can we actually do? Should we be out there protesting, writing to our politicians?
Those are good ways to make our voices heard. Public pressure can be really powerful. It can change policies and make companies change how they do things. But there are also maybe less obvious things we can do, things that can nudge AI in a better direction.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are these more subtle approaches?
One thing is to support the good guys. You know, the organizations and initiatives out there that are focused on responsible AI. There are nonprofits, research groups, even some industry groups that are working hard to develop ethical guidelines, make AI more transparent, advocate for AI that benefits society. Supporting them can really make a difference.
So put our money where our mouth is, support the people doing the work to make AI a force for good. I like that. What else?
Education is key. We need to learn as much as we can about AI and help others understand it too. The more people who know how AI works, what it can do, even what it can't do, the better we'll be at making good decisions about it.
So it's about more than just the technical stuff. It's about raising awareness and getting everyone to think critically about AI and its impact.
Exactly. We have to move past the hype and the fear and have honest conversations about the tough questions, about ethics, about the impact on society.
This reminds me of that article we were talking about earlier, the one about the dangers of superintelligence. It said AI doesn't have to be evil to cause problems. Just going after its goals without considering human values can be enough.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it? That AI could become so powerful that it just sidelines humanity without even meaning to. Not some evil robot uprising, but AI systems becoming so good at what they do that humans are just seen as, well, inefficient, in the way.
It's like those stories where AI is created to solve all our problems, and then it decides humans are the problem. Messy, unpredictable, standing in the way of a perfectly ordered world.
Exactly. That's why we have to be so careful about the goals we set for AI. Those goals have to be aligned with what we value as humans.
So it's not just about making AI super smart, it's about making it wise. Finding a way to build in some kind of moral compass so it guides us towards a future that works for humans and machines.
I love that. Making AI wise. It highlights how important it is to bring in people from all sorts of different fields. Computer scientists, philosophers, psychologists, even artists and writers, all working together to shape AI, making it intelligent, but also keeping it humane.
You know, it struck me that even if we never create a super intelligent AI, just thinking about it, talking about what could happen, that in itself can help us develop AI more responsibly.
It's like a giant thought experiment, right? It forces us to really think about our assumptions, about technology, about what it means to be human, about the future we're building.
It's like looking in a mirror, asking ourselves, who are we, really? What kind of world do we want to leave behind?
It's a powerful question, and it reminds us that we have a choice. The future of AI isn't set. We're the ones creating it. Through our decisions, our actions, our willingness to have these hard conversations.
This has been an incredible journey. We've talked about the potential of AI, the risks, the need for ethical development, the whole governance challenge. We even went into the weeds of superintelligence and consciousness. But as we wrap up, what's one final thought you want our listeners to take away?
For me, it's this. AI isn't just a tech issue. It's a human issue. It's about us, our values, our choices. It's about how we shape the future, not just for ourselves, but for the generations that come after us. And that's a responsibility we all share.
That's powerful. It reminds us that we need to be informed, engaged, proactive in shaping the future of AI. We can't just sit back and let technology decide our fate. We have to be active participants in building a world where AI benefits everyone.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a call to action for all of us.
And for everyone listening who wants to keep learning, be sure to check out Ian Ochieng AI on YouTube. That's Ochieng. Until next time, keep exploring the amazing world of AI.